The minutes have been distributed for, I guess it was the last meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review it? Anybody want to make any some questions on changes? And if not, I'll entertain a motion that the minutes be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve has been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, I'm assuming there's no discussion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's see. Where's my, what is the date of the next meeting? I don't have that on in front of me.
Date of the next meeting?
Oh, next 29th. Okay. The next scheduled meeting is November 29th here at the Military Museum. Now, let's see. Anybody here plan to give testimony in this hearing today? If so, would you please go to the podium and be sworn? No, they can stay there.
If you're intending to offer testimony in today's proceedings, please stand and raise your right hand. So if you're going to speak on any of the cases today, please stand and raise your right hand.
I'll try to get somebody.
All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes.
Okay, so I understand, for that's what was scheduled for today. The first case is requesting a dismissal.
That is correct. The property is in compliance.
Okay.
Lavoisier Price, code supervisor, and I have been sworn. Yes.
We need a motion to dismiss this case, don't we?
You need to.
Well, the city is dismissing it, so it's no longer before you.
Okay, that's fine. Then the next case before us is hearing to impose a penalty. The case number is 23-84183. Code compliance officer is Meredith Echtenberg. Respondent is Susan R. Herring. Address of the violation is 3553 DeLuca Street. The violation of Chapter 26, Section 8.5, Sub 2, F, fence in disrepair, and violation of Chapter 26, Section 8.11E, 1, property maintenance trees. Is the respondent present? One. Is the respondent present? Nobody appears to be the respondent, so on their behalf,
There's no need for a plea.
that's right, because we already did, so. Right. Will the city please state the case?
For the record, Meredith Achtenberg, Code Compliance Officer for the City of Punta Gorda, and I have been sworn. According to the Charlotte County Property Appraiser's records, the property located at 3553 DeLuca Street is within the city limits of the City of Punta Gorda, Florida, and the property is owned by the respondent. This matter having come for hearing before the City of Punta Gorda Code Enforcement Board July 26, 2023, at which time the board heard testimony, received evidence, and entered its compliance order, which was mailed to the respondent via certified return receipt mail on July 27, 2023, which has not been returned or received. On July 26, 2023, said compliance order was posted on the property and at the City Hall Annex building by Code Compliance Officer Nick Faulkner. Said compliance order required the respondent to repair or remove the fence and that the landscape debris be removed from the property within 60 days of receipt of the order, and to cease and desist from any future violations of the Punta Gorda Code, Chapter 26, Section 8.52F and Chapter 26, 8.11E1. I re-inspected the property at 355 DeLuca Street on October 4th, 2023, and found that the fence remains in a state of disrepair and that the landscape debris remained on the rear yard of the property. A notice of hearing imposing penalty was mailed to the respondent on October 4th, 2023 via certified return receipt mail, which has not been returned or received by the respondent. On October 4th, 2023, I posted said notice of hearing imposing penalty on the property and at the City Hall Annex. On October 10th, 2023, An affidavit of noncompliance and notice of hearing imposing penalty was mailed to the respondent via certified return receipt mail, which has not been returned or received by the respondent. On October 9th, 2023, I posted said affidavit of noncompliance and notice of hearing imposing penalty on the property and at the City Hall Annex. On October 24th, 2023, I re-inspected the property and found that the fence remains in a state of disrepair and the landscape debris remains on the rear yard of the property, and the property remained in non-compliance. I am submitting 7 photos for the record. The pictures submitted for evidence are a true and accurate representation of the condition of the site at the time the pictures were taken. The property has continued to be in non-compliance for an additional 90 days of non-compliance from July 27, 2023 to October 24, 2023. I am submitting an invoice for unpaid case costs in the amount of $19.22, plus additional case costs incurred in the amount of $39.01, for total case costs incurred in the amount of $58.23.
Well, since we don't have a respondent question, I have one for you. I drove past this property, and it almost appears to be unoccupied, abandoned, or whatever. Have you ever contact with the property owners?
I have not spoken with the property owner. No.
Does the board have any questions for the officer?
I have a question with regard to the mail. You said that the certified mail was neither delivered nor returned. So there was never any return of the green card, correct?
Correct.
And the envelope didn't come back either?
Correct.
No, okay. You said the mail wasn't delivered?
The green
Correct.
card didn't come back.
Is it occupied? Can you tell?
It appears to be vacant to me.
But they did receive notice about today's hearing.
So per Chapter 162, the posting of the property is proper service.
Yes, but I'm just thinking on the mail side.
No.
Did nobody just return undeliverable?
Neither. It didn't come back either way.
According to the website, it's in transit still.
Okay, I'm still at a loss.
It's being
Any-
forwarded.
Has there been any discussion with the neighbors?
Yes, yes. I have met with one of the neighbors, and they allowed me to come on their property, which I was able to take pictures, which confirmed the current, fence and disrepair and debris.
Any other questions from board members? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, right now, for just a second.
For the record, Lavoisier Price, Junior Code Compliance Supervisor, and I have been sworn. So the mailing still says that it is in transit. That was as of October 26th on one of them, and another one is in transit also. So we may not get it back for some time. It seems like they're still attempting to deliver it. We can't say why.
Okay. Well, I'm just, could you state your name and whether or not you've been sworn?
My name is Faith Ferris, and I'm the Bernster Isles Standards Director. I have also sent 2 notices to
No,
this.
have you been sworn?
No.
Well, before you give testimony, would you?
All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
Would you, you are Bernster?
I'm the Bernster Isles Standards Director, and I have also sent notices to the owner of this property. And yes, these letters that we send out certified, we don't get the green cards back. That's just something the shipping post tells us it's just not happening, but that doesn't mean they weren't delivered. The mail is probably being forwarded to this person. We have neighbors that have talked to the person in the beginning of all of this. Now she just doesn't answer the phone. She doesn't want to be, probably, she considers it to be harassed at this point. However, her property is not being taken care of. It's in Burnt Storls neighborhood, and it's, it's a terrible eyesore. It's been going on now for a year, and we'd really like the city to do something about that.
Now, The owner is occupying the house presently?
They are not at the house. They are in another state visiting,
Oh,
and so they're just not bothered with this piece of property.
So they're visiting another state. Is that something just temporarily? I mean, have they been in and out of this house throughout this last year?
As far as I know, no.
No, okay.
And they won't talk to the neighbors anymore either. So we just can't seem to get any kind of response.
Yeah, I have a question for code compliance. Did you inquire as to the tax status? Are the taxes up to date on this property? 3553.
The address, according to the property appraiser's website, is the 3553 DeLuca, so that's where mail is being sent, not to another address, but he's...
anybody have any more questions for the witness? Okay, thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I appreciate it.
Like to make a motion?
Please.
Make a motion that the respondent did have a violation of compliance order, in order that a fine in the amount of $4,500 be imposed, representing a fine of $50 per day for 90 days of noncompliance from July 27th, 2023 to October 24th, 2023, plus applicable interest and 8.54% per annum. And said fine shall continue to run until the respondent comes into compliance with the Punta Gorda Code. It is further ordered that the respondent is required to pay unpaid case cost in the amount of $19.22, plus additional case costs incurred in the amount of $39.01, for total case costs incurred in the amount of $58.23.
Second.
Motion has been made and second that the respondent did violate compliance order in order that a fine in the amount of $4,500 be imposed, representing a fine of $50 per day for 90 days of non-compliance from July 27, 2023 to October 24, 2023, plus applicable interest of 8.54% per annum. Fine shall continue to run until the respondent comes into compliance with the Punta Gorda Code. Further order, the respondent be required to pay unpaid case costs in the amount of $19.22 and $39.01, for a total of $58.23. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? None. The motion is carried. Okay.
The taxes have been paid and are current.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Are there any staff comments? Any member comments? Oh,
I'm sorry, I thought Nick was going to make a staff
Oh.
comment. I just wanted to remind the board that unlike meetings before the city council and maybe some other advisory boards of the city, there is no public comment portion of our cases. And any witnesses that the city wants to present or that the respondent wants to present are their prerogative to present or not present. And there's a potential due process issue if a witness appears that the city's not aware of and the respondent's not aware of, and the respondent doesn't have an opportunity to cross-examine or the witness or what have you. It creates an issue with respect to the potential validity of the order that you present. I think that the information that was presented by the representative of the Homeowners Association, I think, was helpful with respect to the notion of notice, but I think it sets a bad precedent if we deviate from the procedure that is normally followed in this case. Because I know that there's been citizens that wanted to make presentations to you either on a case that's pending or on cases that should be pending, and we have advised consistently that there is no opportunity for public comment and it's not on the agenda. So I would just ask that we try to maintain that policy in the future so that we're not accused of inconsistent adherence to the required procedure. Thank you.
Can I ask a question on that? In other words, when the homeowners association comes to speak, we are not to ask questions of that person? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, not only are you not to ask questions, but it would be out of order for any member of the public to present evidence in a case that isn't being presented by any of the parties.
All right, but I have a question regarding that. If someone, for example, wishes to present information that might be helpful for the city, then they could contact the Code Compliance Department and speak to them and ask for authorization to speak as a witness on behalf of the city, correct?
Well, it would be, so it's not uncommon for the city to have the necessity for providing, witnesses supplemental to staff. And certainly if someone calls in and wants to be able to present testimony and staff believes it might be of assistance to their case, it's within their discretion as to whether they want to make that person available as a witness.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, it's just like, we're not in court and the proceedings are much less formal than court, but if in a court proceeding, if some neighbor in a neighborhood dispute wanted to address the judge, there's no way the judge is going to let that testimony come in.
Okay, so for clarification, if the respondent was here and had the opportunity to cross-examine the person making the statement, the third party, it would be okay. But if the person does not have that opportunity, then they should not have testimony presented that they cannot have the opportunity to question.
Yeah. So it's more basic than that. A respondent has the opportunity to contact the city in advance of the hearing and request if they desire to do so, and rarely happens. But who's going to be speaking on behalf of the city, so that, as a witness, so that they have the opportunity to prepare for that testimony. And let's just say, I'm trying to be, give an example that's as kind of a ridiculous example, but let's just say that it's somebody that doesn't even live near where the violation occurred and just has a vendetta against the neighbor and really doesn't have any personal knowledge. To show up for the respondent not to be aware of that witness that witness coming forward and being surprised at the hearing with respect to that, there's a potential due process. I'm talking very technical here because it really isn't likely to be an issue, but you always have to prepare for the unexpected. And I'm just saying that we have historically advised the board that it's not a public hearing. Some people believe that it is, but it's not. And so the witnesses that come before you are controlled by staff or the respondent, and it's just not procedurally appropriate to have members of the public testify. Now, again, as you indicated, if there's like the homeowners association, if they felt like that they had some pertinent information that would be of assistance to the city's case, the appropriate thing would be to contact city staff, let them know, and let city staff decide whether it would be helpful to their case to bring that in.
Would there be would it be helpful if, with the public notice of the Code Enforcement Board meeting, that there be some kind of notice that says anybody who wishes to provide information at the session should contact the Code Compliance Department?
I think that comes close to inviting public comment, and that's not really where we want to be.
All right, thank you.
But again, let's say and I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I can, because I'm sure the homeowners association, if they knew what the procedure was, would have been very happy to contact the city and ask to be able to speak, because, you know, clearly it's an eyesore for the community and they want to have something done about it. And I do appreciate the fact that they're here, and I thank you for your, you know, being concerned. But procedurally, it's not proper. And we've had Mr. Lustig, for example. He wanted to speak a while back when we were involved in the enforcement of the ill-fated sign code. And we advised that, no, your public comment is not appropriate here. And as I said, we need to be consistent. And the value of having the posting on the property is that those that may want to present some sort of evidence can contact the code enforcement board, code enforcement staff. I don't know that it needs to be stated on the posting, because that's a posting actually for the respondent's information. Case law suggests in some instances that reasonable people have a reasonable obligation to inquire, you know, with respect to matters that pertain to them. So I'm just saying that, you know, it's available if they contacted code enforcement, and if code enforcement in their discretion felt the information would be helpful. Because sometimes, look, sometimes people may, as witnesses, you know, in trial, for example, you know, if you don't do your homework and understand what your witness is going to say, and try to understand, you know, and discuss with them, it's not really coaching, but it's, you know, understanding what their testimony is going to be. You don't want them to volunteer information that's going to be adverse to your the theory of your case. So, you know, although again, this is not a formal courtroom situation, but there are analogies and applicable situations that are there to protect, I won't say protect the staff, but help the staff in presenting their case, and by the same token, help a respondent in presenting their case. So I've spent much more time saying all that, but I just, you know, that we have a very short agenda, and you made me wear a suit today, so I thought I would take advantage of the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Does members have any comments? Sir, do you have some more additional information you want?
No, just an update. 300 West Marion, still no permit at this time or anything of that nature, but they did pay their fines and case costs.
So, well, okay.
And West Rudder, did I say what I said? Oh, yeah, 300 West Rudder. So they will be back before you next month.
Next month. All right.
As of right now, they will be before you next month.
That's right. Okay.
I have a question concerning that. When I walked by there right after the meeting and recently, it does not appear behind that fence that they have done anything, even though they said that they did.
Yeah, I spoke to one of the managers, and what they wanted to do to remedy it, and I say remedy it very loosely, was against the code. They just wanted to put up a cloth on the fence, and we told them they could not do that, so they'd basically be hiding it, but it's not a permitted material.
But they have done that.
They have?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back by and
Oh, yeah.
inspect the property.
And behind the cloth, there's things that apparently have not been done that they...
Yeah, so, yeah, we can't look over fences
Oh, you
and
can
things
see
like
through it.
that.
You can-
So,
no, you can see,
okay,
okay.
so, but yeah, we'll go back by.
I would appreciate if you go back.
All right.
Okay. Anything from members? With that, I'll entertain a motion. Wait a minute.
I just have a question. Do we have the date for the December meeting? Because the fourth Thursday is between Christmas and New Year's. Are you going to change that meeting date?
Yeah, so it's an early date, December 13th.
December 13th. Thank you.
Okay. I guess there's no more body walking up. I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn. Second, and we don't need it, we're adjourned. Adele, I have a question for you in a minute, if you wait.
So,